as promised, last week I was going to review on how to tie your belt or obi. Okay, so there's actually several ways to do this, and I'm actually going to show my method of doing it, my favorite way. The type of belt we wear here is a little bit heavier belt because my background, I'm a knee dan, a second degree in judo, and I like the judo belt better, a little bit thicker, and I find that the judo belt is a little bit less pretentious because it's just a black belt. There's no gold bars or anything, and basically you don't indicate your rank until you're like 5th degrees and higher. So I think from 1st degree to 4th degree, everyone wears just a black belt. And so I follow that same judo tradition. All I have is a black belt. Now sometimes you see me wearing my Judo black belt, and it shows that I have a 1st degree. There's a little gold bar. But in most cases, I just wear my judo black belt. I find that a little bit, I like that better. Anyways, I'm going to show like 3 different ways on how to tie your belt, okay? And so I'm going to show the first method, and then I'm going to show like 3-4 different methods. And if you want to review it, you can just message me, and I will shoot a YouTube video. I will capture the YouTube video and re-upload it, okay? So there's actually, I know 4 methods, okay? So tonight I'm going to show 4 methods. But the first method is the way I like my students to do it because it's the easiest. Okay, so obviously you need the OB or the belt to be starting out even length. So that's what you do, okay? And you're holding it. And after a while you get really good at it. You just kind of pick it up from the floor. And you just kind of like find tail to tail. Okay, and after a while it just becomes second nature that you're not even thinking about it. Okay? And so what you're going to do next is you're going to grab your lapel and you're going to snap it out to get rid of all the slack, okay? And then you're going to go left, so you go right over left, okay? So once again, it's the side that I'm holding my belt on. I'm just going to take it, 1, 2. I'm going to notice I use this hand to keep the flap from falling out again, okay? So we're going to do it again. I'm going to find my tail to tail. I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to snap it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the side that has my belt. I'm going to bring it over. And then I'm going to bring this one over. I'm going to bring my hand out. And I'm holding onto my belt again. And notice I'm holding the flap with my index finger. The next thing I'm going to do now is I am going to take my belt, the center of my OB, and I'm going to put it in the middle. And preferably, you need to put it in your below waistline. So we have the natural waistline and then the below waistline. Okay, so we want to put it underneath the waistline because if you put it in the above waistline, natural waistline, you have a hard time breathing. And then what you're going to do is you're going to spread it out. Okay, and then from here you're just going to crisscross it. You're going to bring it over. Okay, now obviously I'm talking and stuff, so I'm losing my focus. So now from here you're going to match it up again, and you have it. Okay, so the next thing you want to do now is, I mean, people have left over right, right over left. I'm not a stickler for that. I don't really care. But let's keep with tradition. Since I have my left lapel over, I'm going to keep my left side. I'm going to bring it over. And so right now it has a letter X. Okay, see this X? And so I have to manipulate this X. So how do I do that? I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to hold on to it, and then I'm going to take my thumb, I'm going to reach in and grab all of them at the same time. Okay, and then I'm going to grab onto it. So now this hand is free to manipulate it. So I'm going to take this tail, which came from the left side, and I'm going to go underneath all of them. Okay, and you want to go underneath all of them because you want to hold up all the belts. Okay, because if you don't go underneath all of them, what's going to happen is it's going to separate like this. Okay, now I've seen people wearing it like this, but I personally don't like wearing like that. So this is how the traditional way it's taught. So I'm here. I'm going to take my left hand. I'm going to reach in with my thumb. I'm going to reach in and grab all of it. Now my right hand is free to manipulate the tail. I'm going to take my tail and I'm going to go underneath all of it. Okay? And this is the mistake a lot of people do. They start tightening it. Don't tighten it yet. Just keep it everything the same. Now I'm going to take this tail that hasn't been manipulated at all. This is the tail that's pointing toward my left. That's coming from my right. I'm going to point it across. and I'm going to form like a letter plus sign. And then this is where it gets tricky. You do it slowly until it's cinched. That's when you can tighten it. Okay? And that's how to tie your belt. That's version 1. I'll teach it again. Okay? So you got your obi. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the middle. And what you're going to do is you're going to take it and you're going to snap it out. And you're going to go left, right. And then what you're going to do next is you're going to take this in the middle and you're going to spread it out. Okay, so you're here and we're going to bring it together. You're going to take your left hand, thumbs down, you're going to reach in and grab all of them. You're going to take the tail and you're going to go underneath all of them. So I come into my body, all of them. And you want it to follow the same curvature. And then you're going to take your right hand, you're going to bring it over. And you're going to take this. Okay, everyone see? Okay, and then you're going to tie it. Okay, now notice how I'm doing this. My thumb is pointing this way. My thumb is pointing this way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap it. If you need to make it tighten it, you just tighten it. Okay, so that's version 1. Okay, now the problem with version 1 is that it's not even in the back. Okay, now for judokas, we don't really care about that because our belts are constantly falling off because we're wearing a thicker belt. Okay, and so we just kind of do it this way. Okay, there's another method that allows the back to be nice and no overlap, no crisscross. Okay, so the second method is almost the same except we start differently, but you finish the same. Okay, so the second method is you're going to take your belt, you're going to snap it, you're going to take your belt, you're going to hold it on this side, the tail, and you're going to wrap around your body. Okay, so I personally don't like this method as much. And you're going to wrap it around again, and now when you get to here, you let this tail come out. Okay, now notice this nice straight line. Okay, and then you're going to move it a little bit. Move it. Okay, so now I have my top over bottom. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do my belt. Okay, now obviously I did it wrong a little bit because I'm not expert in this method. And here you go. Okay, and this method basically it's even in the back. Okay, so let's try it again. I personally don't like this method. It takes too long. Okay, so you're going to take it, you're going to snap. Actually, I started from this side. And I'm going to go around. Notice I take it, and you could be left-handed or right-handed. So for me, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to go this way. Okay, and then I'm going to loop it around. So this is basically coming around my waist. Okay, and then when it gets to here, where it's going to end off, I'm going to pull the tail off the side. I'm going to pull it, and I'm going to move it a little bit. After a while, you're going to get really good at this. Okay, I personally don't like this method. I don't do it as much. And then you're going to finish the same. Okay, you're going to finish the same. So you're here. This points to your right. This comes on top. And you do that. Okay, so I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, so this method is a little bit, the advantage of this method is that you get a nice straight line. And this method, you see it done a lot with Taekwondo uniform because the belt tends to be a little bit softer. The uniform tends to be a little bit softer, so there's not much friction. So the belt's not coming untied often. Okay, I never seen this with judo guys, because the belts are just too thick. The uniform is just too thick. So what happened is, it's constantly moving around. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to show the second method, and then I'm going to show the third method, and then I'm going to show a very unique method. And then in all these methods, you can kind of blend and mix them up. Okay, so once again, you're going to snap your lapel. So this is method number 2. We're going to hold it, and we're going to pass it around once. Okay, and you're going to pass it around again. And the benefit of this method again is that you get a nice, beautiful straight line. Okay, and then you're here, and you're going to move it across, move it across, move it across, and then you're going to tuck everything in. This goes across this way. Okay, so my right is going on my left. This comes on top. And, okay, now for people who are just starting to watch this, notice it's a nice knot, and my thumb is like a steering wheel, like a bicycle wheel, and I'm going to go like this. Okay, so that's method number 2. Okay, now the problem with all these methods is that what's keeping the belt from untying is just one knot. Okay, so I'm going to show method number 3, which add more friction to the knot. Therefore, there's a less chance of it falling apart. Okay, so it's all about it's all about friction and tightness of it. So with this method number 3, what happens is when there's more stress, the knot gets tighter, and therefore the chance of untying is much less. Okay, so method number 3 is kind of unique. A lot of traditionalists don't like it. Okay, so this was taught to me by Edward Sanchez. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and ironically, it was taught to him by some guy off the street who was like a martial art nerd. Okay, so this is method number 3. Now, method number 3 is very uncomfortable. So, preferably, you want an obi or a belt that's kind of worn out. So my belt's kind of worn out. Okay, so method number 3 involves this method. Unlock the door. Okay, so we're here, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull it, just like method number 1. And what we're going to do now is you're going to turn it. Okay, I haven't done method number 3 in so long. Okay, so you're going to go like this. You're going to pull it, and you're going to feed all of them inside the loop, like that. Okay, all up inside the loop. And then what you're going to do next is you're going to open up the loop. Okay, so the bottom one comes through, and now you have it. Okay, so this is method number 3. Okay, so method number 3. Okay, so I'm going to do it again. Method number 3 might be easier for some people. Once again, you have the belt. Okay, you can point it to your left, your right, doesn't matter. Okay, I have a bad shoulder, so there are certain days where I have a hard time pointing to my left. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to hold it, and I'm going to pass it around, and I'm going to drag this around. See this loop here? Okay, and see this? I'm going to feed it inside. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the one that's closest to my body, this one that's closest to my body, I'm going to bring it on underneath it, and this one I'm going to point this way, and this is going to go this way. So this is method number 3, okay? The third method. Now the problem with this method is that you have a huge knot, like right in front of your belly, okay? So this method is not recommended for cheap belts or belts that are brand new, okay? It's more recommended for belts that are made out of silk, black belts that have been worn out for a while, okay? Okay, so how do you know if it's a good quality belt? Preferably you want a belt that has a lot of stitching. Okay, so if there's a lot of factories try to save on time, so they minimize the stitching, and you want to look at the gap in the stitches. Okay, if the gaps are too far apart, it means they're trying to save thread and trying to save time. Okay, and preferably there should be a silk blend. Okay, because silk, the strand on the silk is a lot longer, so there's a less chance of breaking. Okay, but when you are a beginner, it doesn't really matter what kind of belt you wear. But when you become a black belt, invest in a good quality belt, especially in certain martial arts style, especially Judo. We wear the same black belt till we're 4th degree. So I'm 2nd degree in Judo, and I still have the same black belt because we have no indication of what rank we are until we're 5th degree. And I actually like that better, okay? Okay, so that's the third method. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to blend. I'm going to show you another method. Now, I'm going to show you a different finishing. Now, this finishing is to ensure so that the belt has a less chance of falling apart. Okay? And so you can blend this with method 1 or 2. So I'm going to blend it with method 1 because that's the method I like to use. So method 1 is more what most judokas or grapplers use. So we have the belt. We're going to grab it. We're going to pull it. We're going to take it in the middle. We're going to bring it here. Okay, and then we have it here. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to take, we're going to go underneath all of them. But this is where it gets tricky, okay? Instead of the traditional single knot, we're going to take this and we're going to peel this open a little bit and we're going to sneak it underneath here. And then we're going to leave a little gap. We're going to take this and we're going to bring it over here. Okay, now if the belt is long enough, you can even sneak it underneath here. So now you have 2 belts, 2 of the tail underneath this side. Okay, now I haven't done this method in so long. Okay, I only do 1. So what I usually do is I do 1 underneath this belt, and then the other one hangs out of it. Okay, so it depends on the belt that I'm wearing. Let me see if I can find my Judo black belt. It's really thick. It's new. I don't think I ever washed it. So I do that method quite a bit with the other belt. So what we're going to do now, instead of doing the traditional finish right here, we're going to take this and we're going to slip it underneath here. Okay, and we're going to leave a little gap. We're going to take this and we're going to slip it through here. Okay, and now you can choose to slip it underneath here if the belt is long enough, or you can just choose to finish it from here. Okay, so now you have 1 that's underneath here and then 1's hanging out. Okay, or to make it look better, you can have both of them underneath. Okay, which is probably better. Okay, so now you have both of them underneath the belt. Okay, and so there's more friction, there's more things to go across. Okay, and you usually see this with higher rank judokas, guys in the 7th, 8th degree. I think it's because the belt is so thick and so new, and it's constantly falling apart, so they do it this method. Okay, so this method is a little different. I don't know if you can tell from the camera. Okay, so let's quickly review and give me your opinion. Okay. So, method 1 is the method that a lot of judokas and grapplers use because the belt's constantly falling apart, because the uniform we wear is a lot thicker, and the belt we wear a lot thicker. Okay, so this is method 1. This is my preferred method. 1, 2, 3, put it in front, loop it around. Okay, and then from here, I am going to take my left hand. I'm going to hold on to all of it. That gives my right hand the chance to manipulate my belt. And then from here, I'm going to take. So notice I'm free. My hand can be moved away from my belt. So that means I did a pretty good job. I'm going to take this belt. Okay, I'm going to point it across. My top one, go over it. And then notice my thumb is like this. And I'm going to slowly pull it. Then I'm going to bring it together. I'm going to pull it. If I need to, I'll go like this. Okay, now after a while, you have your own little nuances on how to manipulate it. Okay, because everyone's going to have a little bit different tension, different pulling mechanism. Okay, so that's method number 1. Method number 2 is the more neater way. Okay, so you're going to take your OB. You're going to be here. You're going to point it to one way, and you're going to loop it around. Okay, now why method number 2? Method number 2, you usually see this in Taekwondo school because they want a nice straight line across the back. Method number 1, you don't get that nice straight line. Okay, and notice I'm peeking this out, and I'm going to keep on moving it, and then I'm going to move until this peeks out evenly. Okay, so then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this, I'm going to go underneath it all. This is going to go across, and method number 2. Okay, so notice method number 2, the nice straight back, okay, and there's my knot, okay, and then method number 3, it's kind of like a weirder method, but I actually like this method sometimes, depending on the belt I'm wearing. So method number 3 is the only disadvantage is that there's a heavy knot in front. Okay, so it might be uncomfortable, but the chance of it untying is a lot less because there's much more frictions. Okay, and so method number 3, also you get a very nice clean line in the back. Okay, so method number 3 is this way. You're gonna pull it. You're gonna come around. Okay. Actually, let's go this way. My shoulder hurts. Okay, I'm going to bring it to the front, and now I have the loop end, and I have the other loose end. I'm going to feed it in the middle. Now, this is very important. See how I'm feeding? It's a straight line. Okay, so this is very important. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this, and I'm going to bring it in. Can anyone see this? I'm going to bring it underneath. Okay, and then this is going to bring it across, and that's method number 3. Okay, now obviously I'm talking and stuff, but usually I do a better job than this. Okay, and then finally you can have a different finish for method 1 and 2. Okay, in method 1 and 2, sometimes I finish it this way, especially if I'm wearing a belt that's brand new and hasn't been broken in yet. Okay, so the finishing could be blend in with method 1 and 2. Okay, so I'm going to use method number 1. I'm here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is we're going to finish almost halfway the same. The only difference, instead of finishing it like this, what we're going to do next is we're going to open this up a little bit, and I'm going to sneak this in. Okay. And then I'm going to take this, and notice here, I'm going to loop this in. Now, if the belt is long enough, you can have one in, one out. If the belt is long enough, you can also have this one underneath here. Okay? And then, so notice they're both underneath this here. So, and then you're here. Okay? And so this is method number, this is a different finish. Okay, so hopefully you guys hopefully you guys learned something. I'm not sure if everyone know all 3 different methods. Probably the last one's the most unique. Okay, so this method I actually like also, especially because it's not flapping all over the place. So I wear this method quite a bit if I'm just kind of teaching, especially if the belt is kind of loose. Okay, after a while, the middle, all the texture, and it gets really like soft, and then what happens is just dangle straight down, and so I like to have it off to the side a little bit. Okay, so that's method number 3. Okay, so I want to finish up by saying, like, you know, the belt system was developed by Jigoro Kano. He was the founder of Judo.